Thanks very much, and I too welcome the motion and the debate. I think it's something that needs to be had. As the Minister will know well, and many people in the gallery as well, I have been perceived maybe to be anti-farmer at times, which I vehemently deny. I have been very critical of government policy, which has led, in my opinion, to a lot of problems for farmers. I do believe that we're overproducing. I do think the emissions from the dairy and beef herd is an issue, and increasing the dairy herd by close to 50% of course it has a knock-on effect on the beef numbers. And I do think that the fact that there's too many cattle that has to be killed every week, and there is an oversupply, and I think that there's no control on it, there's no measure, and I think the government could play a real active role in putting a measure on it. You can go to the mart today and buy a 6 or 7 month old calf from a suckler cow and pay big money for it, but you haven't a clue what you're going to get for it at the end. Right? There's really very little measure on what's going on. Now, just picking on, I don't have a lot of time, but I mean, farming is probably the only indigenous industry we do in Ireland, and it's really important that we protect it. And protecting it, in my opinion, does mean changing the direction we've been going in. We do need to diversify more. At the moment, just to pick up on a couple of the points of Fianna Fáil, the issue with the suckler cow herd, there has to be, it's the bread and butter of farming in Ireland. I know so many small farmers around my own area which depend on it for a livelihood, but you know what? It would look to me as if people are actually being driven out of this end of it towards the dairy. But I mean, we know that efficient finishers, the ones that convert feed into meat weight are not the ones coming from the dairy calves. It's not the dairy cows that give you that, it's from the suckler cow. And our industry was built on it. But the government is, as far as I'm concerned, is ignoring the suckler cow farmers, who are generally the smaller farmers, and the ones who get the most help are the ones who least need it, which are the big dairy farmers. And I mean, Minister, for the life of me, I don't understand why there hasn't been more thought into the direction that we're going in. Another thing that one of the motions that Fianna Fáil have down is about the South American markets. I mean, at a European level, it would be crazy for Ireland to allow South American or US meat to come into Europe, to come into Ireland. Now, I was actually told about some of it coming in illegally on a boat in Cork 18 months ago, with the identities being cut off them by, I was told, by a Munster wholesale meat supplier, which is something that I think we should be very worried about. But there is no comparison between meat produced here and in South America and the US, and I would be wary that they will get into Europe eventually, which would be a disaster, not just for farming in Ireland, but for our health as well. I'm very conscious that I know a lot of reasonably small farmers who have actually gone into the dairy, and they've had banks pushing money on them. And you know what? When the problems arise, the same bank will go looking for that money back, or the land security, very quickly. There's a lot of individuals, small farmers, have gone into the dairy sector or expanded their dairy herds, gone into huge debt, and it hasn't been so wise. Minister, there is a much more positive role to be played by the government in this whole area, and there has to be some control on it. We cannot just keep overproducing. We have to have some control on exactly what we're producing. There has to be more protection and more government interest in the suckler herd end of it. And I think most people in this country, it's obvious that the small farmers have been disappearing for many years now, and if government policy can change that, but if you don't do anything about it, the number of small farmers in this country will go down even further.